What's up, you guys? It is Shauna here with your. You guys, I really wish I could come through with a straight update, like something pertinent to this case regarding Sebastian, Wayne, Drake, Rogers, who has been missing from Tennessee since February 25th, 2024. He was reported missing on the following Monday. His mother went to walk from her side of the house through the kitchen. She goes to the door to wake Sebastian up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Sebastian's not in his room. This is the last place that she had told him to go to sleep, so he should be in his room. She then thought maybe he was making breakfast, which she goes back through the kitchen that she returned to. Now, at first, I had given a lot of poignance around this issue. Like, wouldn't you have been surprised if you walked into the kitchen and your son was making breakfast or something to eat, etc.? Or maybe he got up before you and he was playing with his puppies or doing something. As we know, everything about this day goes against Sebastian Rogers and his routine, okay? So, over the weekend, a lot of new names were introduced. Now, some of these names I had seen in groups, didn't realize who I was talking to, and now looking back through my records, I'm so glad that I did screen grabs while people were still kind of on the neutral side, and before people really started digging, finding out who there's the Guy family, there's the Bowersox family, there's the Nina, who is one of Chris Proudfoot's ex-wives. Now, I did see when before Chris Proudfoot locked his Facebook down, I did see where I think it was in 226, there was a post where she was tagged in it, something about the best date ever. So this was in either 2016 or 2018. I need to check my notes, but it had this Nina tagged in it. So I didn't mean at first I was like, who is Nina? But then I start realizing that the Proudfoots are going through, systematically, we have the Proudfoot clan, we have the Rogers clan, and we have someone who used to be in both of these clans, okay, which is Katie. Katie is the central point of where all of this stems out from, all of this other drama that these people have had. Now, I'm not going to say that this information isn't useless. And while it does shed some light onto the character of the people in mine, this is not me defending anybody, because right now, everybody to me is a suspect. Nobody is innocent until somebody ponies up and brings Sebastian front and center, and then lets Sebastian make his confession on where he's been this whole time, on whether he had been told that, he was going on an early spring break trip or something, okay? Would it be that hard to fool a 15-year-old if you're promising him, something that he wanted? Like, maybe we're going on a trip. We're going to go ahead and go early before everybody else can get there. And while all this was going on, Sebastian was just living his 15-year-old life before spring break kicked in, thinking that, this was just specially arranged just for him. We don't know. He's a child. Now, he is also a 15-year-old child, so he's entering his teenage years. I understand, we have terrible twos when we're toddlers. We have I was a teenager. I was a hard maintenance teenager. I was overdeveloped mentally, dealing with way more than my 16, 17-year-old mind could process. But I also remember how much I thought I knew at 15. And also how naive I was at 15. Now, my story would take a different turn because, unlike Sebastian, I was one of the more actor-outer people, and I ended up being blessed with my first little hellion, and I did get pregnant with him when I was 15. So you can only imagine, like, those little quips, nearly nothing towards what Sebastian was doing. But it's also taught me that, especially with technology coming in, kind of growing up alongside of my son, you know, uh, it made us a lot stronger. We were a lot closer, but at the same time, I kind of had to be like the forefront of the social media frontier pioneer. He was obviously born like before Facebook, before MySpace, stuff like that. I also know that children can be very, very cruel. And I also know that adults can be cruel too. Like, there's so many, we hear about these cases so many times where it's always about putting it on the child. The child was acting up, the child had problems, maybe the child did have problems, but I don't see as any of us as parents can really sit here and not think that we didn't do every single thing that we could for our kids. We didn't just like think they would grow out of it or anything like that. No, like, and I know, like, you can't parent, okay? But one thing I think that we have all learned is that you can't parent and teach through discipline. A lot of people that have problems like cleaning their houses and stuff like this have that same kind of mental relationship where they grow up and these things were used as punishments instead of the smallest thing being rewarded. You could do all the good that you possibly could do, but it was never good enough, or you are trying to please somebody, be a people pleaser, or you are living in a house with toxic masculinity where the man is going to be the man, and once a child going into puberty. We know Sebastian's growing a mustache. He's 15. He's got raging hormones, and I doubt that anybody has really sat him down, aside maybe from Seth, and explained to him like what's going on with his body. Instead of being like, that's just part of growing up, no, like, sit down, explain what's happening. If you don't explain what's happening, even to the brightest bunch right now, if something did happen, you're gonna think of all the times that you could have like had that sit down talk with them. And right now, you guys, from stranger danger to online and to like, these kids have us beat. I don't care how old you are, what technically you work for. Like, when it comes to like the low down, like this, kids are gonna hustle. Like, who do we all have? Who all of us? Raise your hand if you sold like candy on school property to make extra money. Raise your hand. This never applied to me, but if you sold an extra phone and the usage for it to a kid who maybe didn't have internet access to some of the things they wanted to, this happens. I don't know, I don't want to misquote who had spoken to me about this, but we had a really long video heart to heart. Vanessa. And just talking to her for a little bit of time made me realize that there are people here. See, I'm not from Tennessee, I'm from Texas, which had me kind of apparently shocked whenever I heard about all the different things that were going on with the United Cajun Navy. I'm just going to leave it at that. you guys, because there are so many factions of this group, and it's a shame that what happened, but I would rather have people who have a different motivation to get them out than worrying about being represented as like, hey, we did this, we did this, we did this, we did this is great, but let's stay away from the moral dessert, y'all. Like, that's your job, and at the end of the day, we're glad you did your job. So I do have a lot to catch up on, and yesterday Sebastian should have been getting some type of little Easter basket, with some like peanut butter cookies and some chocolate drinks and some Capri Suns and maybe some like little fidgets and some like little toys, and he was robbed of that one of those last teenage little holidays where you still get stuff. My mom, I remember whenever I was actually at the hospital and I was pregnant, and my mom, God bless her, like, even though I was like her 15-year-old misfit child that's like walking around being the town social pariah, she like brought me like a basket of all kinds of like sugary snacks and stuff, like craving food. And I was in the hospital, and it was just so sweet of her to do that. I wonder if she's done anything that nice since. This isn't about me, but it does help come from households where you don't always know who has your back. And that's sad and that's scary. So I did take a day to just kind of step away from the case and everything. As I said at the very beginning, this is all to do with Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, who went missing on February 26th in his Hendersonville home. Despite all research, including AV, air, dogs, horseback riders, the National Guard coming out, doing all these searches. Now, the UCN, as far as reporting it as the like official first, that just puts a bad taste in my mouth, because while these searches, the early searches, were conducted properly and buddy system and all that, there are still people that are gathering together and searching different areas. Now, like I said, if you're gonna do these things, number one, make sure that you are not on someone else's property. Number two, wear gloves. Two, have your hair tied back. Three, you want to make sure that trace DNA is not disturbed. And I think that's where the biggest part of these searches come from, is that law enforcement has to prove whatever happened beyond a reasonable doubt that if this child does in fact not come home, at the very least we need some type of child endangerment charges placed. The fact of the matter is, regardless on whether you intended to or not, your child went missing on your watch. That makes you suspect number one, whether you like it or not. That is just the way these cases go. If you feel that you are not being looked at properly, count your days. And if you have anything, it's time to drop the act, you guys. It's time to drop the facade. If Sebastian is with you, it's time. You may think you've been doing the right thing, but we are all on high alert, okay? We understand some of what Sebastian was going through on those days. And we need to remember that, there is a lot that you can learn from family dynamics and going back through and stuff like that. But what is important is that we remember why we're here and to not get too mixed up in all the drama. Now, create your, spider web, little investigative boards. Do that. That's cool. That's fine. That's great. But please, God, don't don't post a picture or something and like say like it looks like da 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 da. No, it's the way you made it look and the way that you're talking. A lot of these are coming up on groups. I think they're nothing more than spam. Now, I understand that these are also groups for talking about things and stuff like that, but please, please, before you just bombard 6,000, 10,000, 14, 20,000 people, like what you saw in a picture, in reality, like we cropped that picture and we just see that all is a napkin reflection. This is reaching. Take those to private message apps and like maybe go over it with some people like before even wasting everyone's time with posting them. Instead, post a flyer, post a picture, post a story, post a reel, post something that is a factual knowledge, because like I said, we can speculate all day. We've been speculating since day one. I don't want to speculate. I want to know where the boy is right now. Where is he? Where is Sebastian Rogers? This is no time for April Fool's Day nonsense. This is not time for any sick jokes. I usually try to sleep through the entire day. Anyway, there were some people who were asking about the comments that Chris Prophet had made. If you go into the community under that section, it's going to be in there. And these are all things that he had posted post missing and at really odd times, like night. Like this guy has a hard time of sleeping. Now he could have a hard time sleeping because, well, the whole world's looking at you, and I get that, but the guy really just does not seem to have a care in the world, and it makes me wonder if somebody is so deluded that they can think that, and if Katie Proudfoot just happened to be looking for the right scapegoat at the right time to do whatever with this child. Once again, I have not been released. I cannot do anything once I haven't been released to go back to work. It's very frustrating because we haven't paid rent. We haven't done, it's not without trying. But, anyway, this isn't about me, I do have the buttons. I'm trying to get those out. Those just pay shipping and I will send them to you. They're just sitting here. They're not doing me any good. They need to be brought to the community so that people can wear them to bring continued wearable awareness to Sebastian. So if you're interested in that, please comment below or send me an email at jsns.lover@gmail.com. That's jsns.lover@gmail.com. Thank you to everybody. Please subscribe, mainly just because I would like to go live and have people panels and stuff like that on. And, kind of show you guys what we're doing in the community aside from making these videos and talking. Hopefully our Easter miracle or something will come soon, and till then, everybody stay vigilant in your works and your efforts, and just try to stay, I know it's hard, but just try to stay positive for Sebastian. Sebastian needs all of our love, our positivity, and if you see something, say something. If you see something, please call 1-800-TBI find. Call 911. Just say Sebastian Rogers spotted at. Set the phone down. Do what you can to keep eyes while not interrupting the situation. And that's all that I can say. Thank you guys for being here. I think there's 23 of you now, so thank you for coming and checking in. Like I said, I don't have anything concrete. However, if you do ask questions, feel free to ask questions in the comments, and I will respond with whatever factual knowledge I do have that I can clarify, and if not, it will be cited, and also the same, if I can't clarify it, it will be cited. So thank you. Have a good rest of your week, and I'll be talking to you guys later. All right? Then bye. Team Sebastian, always.